Welcome back, everybody, to a weekly energy report. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm a professional energy healer and energy trainer, and I'm going to guide you through the energetic weather conditions here. If you are an energetically sensitive, if you are an empath, then you know what the value of this is. I'm going to try to give you a little bit of a heads up and help you contextualize things better. Some of the things that we are experiencing are simply not just our own. They're coming in from the outside, and this is hard to put into statistics. It's hard to do research about this because it's all in our subjective experience. So as an energy healer, as an energy coach, I have a very unique setting here. I talk to people from all over the world about the deepest aspects of their being, and therefore I can see how these collective waves literally, go through the entire planet. I can also read out the collective energy field myself, and so I can see not only what is influencing us, but also how it plays out in people's lives. So the reason why I do this live here every week, and I've been doing this for years now, so bear with me if you're coming here for the first time. If you've been with me for all these years, you know that I talk about how to really feel your authentic self and how to find the power within yourself again so that you don't get swept away by those collective energies. So the hard part here for us is to see what is ours, what isn't ours, and then to know how to deal with it, because we are not alone in this world. We are, surrounded by lots of people who are also under the influence but may not be able to contextualize what is going on. So yes, I want you to ask questions. I want you to comment here, let other people know what is helping you. Also let them know how you're feeling. You don't need to know how to fix it. It's really just knowing that you are not alone with those things that you're experiencing that can help other people. So this coming week here is a very, very intense week. And even though the barometer is on orange-yellow, which usually indicates that subjectively we don't experience this as difficult as most other people, it means that there are things going on that are building, that are way beyond perhaps of what we can understand. It's just that so many people are sensitive now to these outer energies that we are beginning to see how important it is that we actually learn how to deal with this better, that we become self-masters in regards to our own energy. Coming back to the necessity of learning what these energies do to us and how to better deal with them. Okay, so this is what I do here every week, to give you a heads up and give you a few tips that you can implement in the practical as an energetically sensitive, as an empath, that make your life perhaps easier. Sometimes, it's just good to know that you're not alone with these things, and it helps. Especially this week, the message for you will be to reach out, will be to not isolate you once more, okay? Because when the energies get that intense as they are right now, where they're affecting the way we see things, okay? So our sixth, our third eye, and our crown chakra, then we have a tendency to doubt our own perception, to doubt our own sense of self, and that is core stuff, guys. All right. So the reason why I called this next week really intense is because we have several astronomical constellations here that add to, all the stuff that we are already experiencing, and that is a full moon. Full moon are always, and this has always been that way. There's no woo-woo. You can ask anybody. Around full moon times, things always get a little more intense. People get a bit more emotional, a bit more erratic. And then we have the summer solstice here in the northern hemisphere coming up next week. This is the time where we have the longest day of the year, basically where, where there's a power transfer from the sun more towards the moon. So we have, the days are going to start getting shorter after the summer solstice, which is on the 21st of June at noon here in Florida. And what this means for the energetics of this is that there is a power transfer from the masculine principle, which is associated with the sun, to the feminine principle, which is associated with the moon. And yet, though, at the same time, and this is part of our collective evolution, and also part of why we, as a a group here of people, are growing so rapidly. It's part of our personal evolution to not see those two principles as opposing or as conflicting, but to unify them within. So traditionally here at transCODES, the summer solstice is the only time of year where we actually do a physical workshop, a one-on-one workshop with people, where we help them understand these things and help to anchor this in the physical, to implement this into their 3D lives. Full moon energies always bring up sort of erraticness and power struggles in us. All right, they show schisms in us, the conflictions, the inner battles that we have. And solstices always bring in the mental schisms we have around it, the understanding, the conceptualization around it. And that's why, this next week is going to be a big week here for this whole entire year. I've already mentioned this in the forecast for June, that it also leads into the precipice of the solar eclipse that is coming up on 2nd of July. And that eclipse is also something that has quite a significance here for all developments in the rest of the year, till the very end of the year. And I want to explain this to you a little bit, how these influences work, because I'm not an astrologer and I'm not talking about any of these sort of galactic energies. I'm just talking about what affects us here on the planet Earth, okay? What happens right now, or what is happening right now, is that the overall frequency of the planet is increasing in a very simplified way. And we are connected with the planet. We are connected with the water, with the air, with the fire, with the earth itself on all these different levels. So as this is happening measurably on our or to our planet, it also affects us, which means that most of the things that have been there for millennia, okay, also begin to affect us a little more. It's hard to say, though, what was there first, the chicken or the egg? Is this the reason why we are becoming more energetically sensitive, why we're awakening to this 7th or 8th sense, if you will? Or is it that we are awakening to our 7th sense, and now we're starting to realize those things that have always been there? So, this is hard to answer, and how sort of divine creation works. If you just look around how nature works, it's circular. It has this, nothing has really a beginning or an end. Everything sort of renews itself. And these times, of full moon and solstices, those are very, very strong renewal times, all right? This is when one cycle ends and a new cycle starts. And typically for us, this brings up a lot of stuff, all right? So this next week here, what this is going to bring up in us, in context with all the other stuff that is already going on, is internally, what separates us and what connects us. These two polarities that we have within ourselves. And of course, this weaves through all these different densities of our existence: our physical, our emotional, our mental, our spiritual, and our energetic. And these things are they all express differently in our life. So you got to understand that just maybe because you have a good mental understanding or intellectual understanding of it doesn't mean that your body is able to handle this gracefully. Or just because you understand this from a spiritual, metaphysical point of view doesn't mean that that it's easy for you to handle this emotionally, okay, in your relationships. So this is why it's so important to learn discernment and to go a little deeper. This next week is a very strong clearing week, very strong renewal week, okay, where I've been talking about the deconstruction and reconstruction. But you're going to feel this now, okay? You're going to really feel this. You're going to feel this in your body. You're going to feel this in your emotions. And you're going to feel this in your relationships. And how are you going to feel this? This is my job now to tell you. Physically, guys, I'm afraid to say it because I suffer from it a lot as well, is that it's a heavy migraine, heavy headache week that you can expect next week, okay? This is in the nature of the energy centers that are being triggered or that are being activated, which is the 6th and the 7th chakra. And for those of you who are new to all of this, please check out the playlist for concepts for empaths and awakening essentials. I just posted a 7th chakra special where I explain how you can work with your 7th chakra so that these things don't affect you that much. But there's other effects that I don't talk about, and those have to do with the unseen interaction between you and other people. And of course also with the nature itself, okay, the planet itself, the collective itself, all right? So I'm going to produce another video this week that will help you to understand some of the astral things that are going on right now. Because when our 6th and 7th chakra are triggered, not only do we have a lot of headaches, we also have a lot of weirdo stuff happening in our lives. We feel dizzy, we have a hard time sleeping, or see a lot of things. And this next week, guys, don't be surprised if you hear things in the back of your head, okay? This doesn't mean that you're crazy, okay? This doesn't mean that you are losing it. This means that your 6th and 7th chakra are very active, and unfortunately, they also become very prone to outer projection. The last couple of days, every time when I, go to sleep, I've literally had a hard time turning off this inner radio station. It was like I could literally hear everything that was being said in the world, like how they sometimes showed us in science fiction movies where the aliens hear all the radio transmissions and TV shows at once, and a very, very strong auditory impact. So if you're hearing voices this next week, then understand that this isn't because you're going crazy. This is because your 6th and 7th chakra are sort of hyperactive. And there's also a lot of downloads, but unfortunately, there is also a lot of astral garbage that is affecting you. And this is why it's so, so important that you understand how your energy centers work and how they filter this information. And how do they filter it? They filter it based on your energy level, where your vibratory level is at a certain time. If you are low, okay, if you are in a really low vibe place with yourself emotionally, or in your relationship, or with your overall environment, then these things are going to trigger a lot of fear in you. So this next week, besides the things that I've already mentioned, guys, will trigger a really strong wave of fear in you all. And not so much because because of what you're hearing or seeing, those of you who are experienced with astral information coming in, you may be able to discern this. I mean, we do these energy trainings here all the time, and we just had a wonderful training weekend last weekend where we taught people how to secure themselves, how to tether themselves, how to not go out of body unwillingly, how to not being pulled into these astral energies, these dark energies that are floating around. Now, they're always floating around. I keep saying this, okay? So just because you can see them more doesn't mean they haven't been there before. But this is part of your task now, guys. When we talk about awakening and embodiment, all right, you got to understand that you're going to have to face those things, because if you don't, they're going to mess with you. And not just like some weirdo, outer dark energies, but also people who are aligned to those dark energies, agents, agents of the matrix, Patricia, how you call them, right? Because these people carry the resonance of that, and they actually have the power to influence you, to manipulate you. So you got to understand the mechanics of energetic projection and astral projection, and you do not want to go into this unwilling place where you become fodder. So what can you do? In short, because there's so much more to this, as I mentioned, and I'm going to record those energy tips in more detail for the Patreon subscribers and the Heart Warriors. Those are the people that work directly with me in a little bit. So that, often I publish those a little later. But the main thing you're going to have to remember next week is how to anchor yourself. How to anchor yourself, even if you literally visualize anchoring your body into the heart and soul of this planet. Okay, work with nature if you don't know any other ways energetically, because nature is always there, and it's unless you're in a very contaminated place. But if you go out into like the woods or a field or something where there's not that much human contamination, all right, you'll have a very pure energetic environment there, and the earth will be very willing to help you. And it doesn't hurt actually to ask for permission, to use the earth's energy or the tree's energy or whatever to help you clear, to help you anchor. But visualize your energies literally into the core of the earth, the heart of the earth. It's also something that helps you with harmonizing your feminine energies next week, because this will be the main task on the energetic level. The other thing is really, really care for your body, because there is a reason why you're incarnated in 3D, and just focusing on, your upper chakras or your intellectual or conceptual understanding makes no sense, guys. You have to work with your body, all right? So anything that connects you, I want to really, really remind you guys to develop your own healing and clearing rituals. You have to learn how to do this. Those of us here who have the ability to look into the future, and I don't have to look very far. This is the next year and a half, 2 years, guys. They're going to be really, really hefty on the outside collectively. You need to know how to anchor yourself. You need to know where your source of power is. If you externalize your source of power, you're just going to get swept away, and you're going to get pulled into collective karma. I talk a lot about this, meaning you're going to experience, the pain and the suffering and the fear and the anger that most people experience around you. There's some good questions here. Downloads, somebody asked what downloads are. So please refer to another Concepts for Empaths video called Divine Wi-Fi, where I explain how, since everything is connected, all right, we are constantly subject of etheric energies interacting with our own energy body, whether we are aware of it or not. And there are times, especially when the energy frequency jumps, when things get bumped up into a faster speed, so to speak, all right, that we feel like we're getting a lot of stuff coming in from the outside. And most of these downloads are actually upgrades for us. But the problem is that most of us, partially due to not really being able to anchor our bodies correctly, that we can't metabolize this correctly energetically. And so it can lead to physical symptoms. It can lead to emotional disconnection. It can lead to us feeling very, very disconcerted, and then of course all the behavioral stuff that can come with this. So generally, downloads are really something that are always there. It's just like when you experience this consciously, it literally feels like you are catching up. It's more so that you're in a router which has a broader bandwidth than your brain. Okay, as that expands, you are catching up with all the information that is out there. That is what downloads mean. They're always there. But if your router is too limited, if your bandwidth is too limited, you cannot receive the full bandwidth of the information. You only receive a very, very small part. And when your router expands, when your vibes go higher, it's like all this information that has always been there is now downloading to you, because now your energy body can metabolize it. Okay, I hope this helps to understand this all better. So it's not really good or bad, but it typically shows up when your energy is starting to speed up, which means that your consciousness and your perspective are increasing. Somebody's asking here, Morgan, Terry, does this also reflect 5G? So 5G, for those of you who are not familiar with this, is basically fifth generation of Wi-Fi, which obviously has nothing to do with divine Wi-Fi. Okay, divine Wi-Fi is something that is linked to divine creation and, basically the fundamental universal energy that, has brought all of this into existence. 5G is a man-made network, worldwide network, an upgrade to 4G, and relatively unhealthy, or to be a bit more precise, quite toxic, especially for us energetically sensitives and empaths. So human 5G, what the cell phone companies and so forth are going to sell to us as the biggest new invention, so that you can have Wi-Fi everywhere you go, is actually an attempt of the collective matrix to control us better. So basically, you have to look at it as another layer around your perceptive field to not really, or to prevent you from being able to receive direct divine Wi-Fi interaction. So we have the physical layers here. So 5G would be one of those physical layers, and the Bluetooth and all these electromagnetic things that we surround ourselves with. Then we have the astral field, which is like the garbage, the etheric garbage field, that just like the garbage that orbits around the planet, that prevents us, it's a perceptive barrier, prevents us from actually connecting directly with divine Wi-Fi. And these two things will make it harder and harder for people to pierce through that veil of of virtual reality that is being created here. Astral is not clearing. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Okay? Just like our oceans get more and more contaminated, the astral field is getting more and more contaminated. And this is very easy to explain because people are getting more contaminated etherically. Yes. No. The astral is not clearing up. So whoever talks about the astral being good and, other things, no, this is actually the layer that prevents you from really connecting with your true source of power, that prevents you from connecting with divine Wi-Fi, and therefore also with your soul self, that prevents you from really going and feeling your own soul. All right, so at solstices, guys, this veil gets pierced a little bit because there's this shift, there's this renewal and correction energy coming in, which is why we do physical workshops. So you guys know this. I'm very, very excited. We have our workshop next week in Iceland. That's my home country. And we're going to work with all the elements there. We're going to show you guys how to develop your own healing rituals, how to feel things, how to anchor things. And yes, meditating at a big waterfall, those kind of things. So you have a live transmission on the 21st. So you guys will be able to tune into those energies if you sign up for this Grace Soul Monad. But that's next week. It leads me to, and please continue asking, guys, and continue commenting here in the wherever, Instagram, YouTube, Empath Forum, or on Facebook. Okay, those are really, really good questions and very, very important. This week's giveaway, which is always my closure for the energy update, is going to be 2 tickets for the heart clearing session that we have Friday night. So this Friday, 14th of June, tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Florida time, Eastern U.S. time, which is early morning in Europe, and afternoon hours, I think, in Asia or Australia. Guys, it's a guided transmission, which means you receive an MP3 from us, and we actually read out your energies live. There's a whole group of energy coaches sitting on the other side, reading out your energy and then reflecting this back to you in the Empath forum where we do the forum coaching for you guys. All right. So if you want to win one of these 2 tickets, then you have to be really fast now. You have to respond here by typing into the comments, I want to learn how to clear my heart from what separates me. I want to learn how to clear my heart from what separates me. This is what you need to type in to win one of the 2 tickets that I'm giving away for tomorrow night's heart clearing session. So stay tuned. Next week I'm going to stream from Iceland. Okay, so this is going to be very, very exciting for those of you who can't come. And the giveaway is going to be the Grace Soul Monad transmission that I mentioned for the actual solstice, so you can tune in remotely. And those of you, of course, who want to come to these sessions, you can also sign up for them. The links are here in the description. Please, guys, share my videos, help other people to understand better, reach out, let them know that they are not alone. Okay, I know it's sometimes difficult to find the right words. All right, this is why we here, as a community, we are the pioneers of all of this. We have to help other people to understand this now. This will be part of our task for the future. Thank you all for your support and for your love. I see you next week from Iceland. Bye, everybody.